Moving right along, I'm really excited about this next fireside chat. We had this thing we wanted to talk about this year, which was how do IoT companies become global? And we basically had the best gift dropped on our lap, which is the very company that has built a product in order to help IoT companies go global is now in a position to itself go global. And so we're going to have quite an interesting conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome up Geoffray Sylvain from RUCO and Ludovic and Lauvergeon from SIGFOX. Let's give them a round of applause.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Anne and Ludovic, for being here today. You were actually here last year, pretty much at the same period, but you were just appointed chairman of the board like for a couple of months. Yeah. And so you came with big hopes and ambition for the growth of SIGFOX. And now, 12 months later, you've got a lot of things happen, actually, and big changes for SIGFOX and for the IoT market. So my first question would be, just to start this talk, is maybe to ask you, Anne, what were the key milestones of these past 12 years, you joining SIGFOX and just helping them grow and grow again. So what were your key moments and key milestones for the last 12 months?
My key moments, a lot of. Difficult to make a selection. I may say that we met together 18 months ago, something like that, a little bit more.
In February.
February, yes, in San Francisco. And I came back from San Francisco this morning, so it's a kind of anniversary. When Ludovic told me what SIGFOX is and wants to become, I was fully amazed. I said in my mind, two solutions.
This guy is crazy.
Totally crazy, or it is
genius,
or it is right. And I wanted to know more, so I decided to visit La Belge, close to Toulouse. I met again Ludovic and Christophe and all the team, and I have been fully convinced about the future of SIGFOX, and we started to work together. And I became chairman of the board. And it was clear at that time that, of course, the first company being able to deploy globally in the world will be at the end the winner.
Yeah.
So we have spent the next 6 months,
Before
the
what?
next 6 months after to convince the board that it was the strategy. And we have been successful in that, and the next 6 months after to achieve it.
So you raised actually 100 million euros from various industrial actors, foreign actors.
More than that.
More than that.
But we decided to...
Yes, we had a commitment for end of 2014. We had a commitment for 500 million euros, but it was too much. So there is dilution behind, and it doesn't make sense to raise too much money. So we decided to raise only 100 million, and we had a bunch of investors. We have to select the strategic one, so we decided to have MNOs, just to demonstrate that SIGFOX is not a competitor of traditional MNOs, but a partner. The reason why having Telefónica, SK Telecom, and NTT Docomo as shareholders will be helpful for the standardization for the future, also to deliver the message that we are really a complement of existing network, because we have created, with SIGFOX, we have created the space of LPWA. Before us, no one imagined that we need another network for IoT. So right now, I think it's done, because the space has been created, and we have some people trying to tackle the same space. And at the other hand, we have also industrial partners like NG, formerly GRDF,
GDF.
Sorry, GDF Suez. And Air Liquide and Eutelsat, just to demonstrate that we are not a network dedicated for things that sometimes can be funny or not very aligned with the industrial constraints. And because these guys today are embedding SIGFOX, I think we have seen yesterday an announcement from Cofeli, Ineo, embedding SIGFOX in their devices. So today we are industrial focused. We are able to deliver 99.99 in terms of SLA, so it's something very important, and we have potentially penalty if we are not able to deliver that level of SLA. And the last part, having a Eutelsat as a shareholders, for us is just a way to prepare the future, having a global network, even covering the ocean, the desert, because we have tested with our some partners like Airbus, we have tested that we are able to reach a satellite, turning around the Earth at 800 kilometers with the same devices, meaning tomorrow you will have a device in your hands that will be connected on the ground with the base station we have deployed everywhere, but also if you are middle of the ocean, middle of nowhere, you will still have the satellite, you don't have any other connectivity on the ground. So this is for us something very simple, something global, because the topics of today is having a worldwide, a global network for IoT. For us, it was mandatory to have also the coverage of the ocean of the desert.
So before talking about the globalization of SIGFOX, I would like to add a word on the industry. Because you are the center of the ecosystem and you see a lot of projects emerging, what do you see about the IoT 1 year before your last year talk? And what do you see? Is there any remaining issues about device, batteries, and everything? What do you see? How the IoT is evolving through the year?
For me, the IoT is something big. I think the space is very wide. At SIGFOX, we believe that the mainstream, the sweet spot is on the low-end devices, which require something very tricky in time of consumption, cost, and the way that you can connect them very seamlessly. This is the key point of that IoT market. I don't want to talk about Google Glass, Apple Watch, and all that stuff that require high-end connectivity, but for the mainstream, I think we need something completely different, and we are targeting that. And today, we have maybe a bunch of 2,000 projects already ongoing, and that a way to connect single device with a tiny margin. Because I think some for the mobile, you can have a large margin on the subscription standpoint, but for the IoT, I think the mainstream requires something very accurate in terms of delivering the right value, because the margin will be very tiny. So we need to be global and to have large numbers, targeting hundreds of millions or billions of devices connected to get the balance to be profitable, because we are working on the way to be profitable, maybe targeting the subscription fee for less than $1 per year, meaning that if we need to have billions of devices connected to be a profitable company and to be on track to do an IPO with strong variation. So this is for us something we have to take care about, and this is what we are delivering today in many countries. So I don't want to talk more about.
And is that this vision that seduced you at the beginning?
We share the same vision. I think that the IoT is a place to be. I was in San Francisco last week, and it's clear that it is an incredible fashion, and for obvious reason. I think that SIGFOX is a double revolution. It's the operator for the IoT, and it's a low-cost operator. And often, low-cost solutions are coming after the first revolution, the first technological revolutions. Yeah. So we are bringing a double revolution in the same step, which is very rare. So I think that we are in an incredible path.
So you bring the technology to connect millions of devices at a very, very low cost, so that
at the same time, and in a very easy way. And it's ready. So it's not for tomorrow and after tomorrow. It's for now on.
So now you're at the stage of you want to deploy the SIGFOX network in France. It's already done, but abroad. So you've done it in San Francisco so far. You're doing it in Spain, in other European countries. So what is going to be the path of the deployment?
Well, it is done in France, it is done in Spain, it is done in Netherlands.
UK?
It
has been announced for Portugal. I don't want to disclaim new countries, because I think Thomas in the room will be very hungry. so I will not do it today. But he is here. So no, we will announce in the coming weeks new countries.
You get a test in Czech Republic, right?
Yeah, Czech Republic, yes, it has been announced too, yes.
That's been announced. So,
Yeah, by T-Mobile, with T-Mobile. But something for me which is very amazing that before the fundraising, we had some interest, but it was pretty hard to make the big players in the world, in the IT players, industrial players, to cross the ocean to come here and to see if what we are claiming is true or not. After the fundraising, for me it was crazy because we had many big players coming to Toulouse, south of France, small part of France, and discussing with us, doing some due diligence on our R&D with Christophe, the Mozart of the radio, Christophe Forte, the co-founder of SIGFOX. Discuss with him. This guy is very smart and the best guy for radio in the world.
He's clever, you could say.
Yes, more than that. Yes, more focus on clever. And they was impressed by what they heard from Christophe, and they rent cars and they move around the country with small device in their pocket and check wherever they are if the network was up and running. It was 100% the reality. So this guy come back in Toulouse after their trip in cars and say, oh, guys, it's crazy. It's unbelievable. We believe that what you are claiming was just a way to push your expectation, your vision, but not the reality. But it was reality. So today, they are going back in the US and they don't sleep for weeks, because everything seems to be possible right now for these guys. So meaning that adding single device, connecting them to internet, changed completely the way that these big guys envision the future.
It's a very good call for different foreigners. If you want to visit France and to test that everywhere it works, you can visit a lot of fantastic places.
Definitely.
So is that now at the stage where you are? Is there more and more politics in the discussion, and that's maybe what you're very good at and what you're known for? Is that the politics and to talk?
I am not sure that I am so good in politics, but I'm sure that we are.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're thinking about.
That we are now in a very global strategy. So, but we have made a lot of achievements. For instance, to be authorized to deploy our network in US and in Canada. So FCC gave us the authorization to deploy in the US, and we are the first one and the only one to have this authorization, which is maybe highly technical, but also highly political at the same time, and highly strategical. So globally, we are working together with a team to make sure that we are going to deploy the best strategy for the deployment of our networks, but also for the development of our relationships with different clients, big business, large business, everywhere in the world. And it's very exciting.
So what's the difference between a still a bit small private-held company and a big semi-public company?
Large one?
Yeah.
It's incredible the work, the things you can achieve with 100 and something, because the number is changing every day. It's increasing. You can achieve with a team which is totally, in passion. Mm-hmm. Not 100%, at 1,000% about the goal. So, I think that the most difficult part was at the beginning, because when you start and when you have to prove not only the technology, but you have to start the deployments and so on. So, and when you are brand new and so disruptive, of course it's very difficult. But I am very confident about our own future.
I read in a Fortune interview you gave in the Fortune magazine a few days ago that what you're bringing in also is the ability to talk in a very short period of time with the very top management of your partners or potential partners. We've seen it with the Mustang project at Airbus, because I think you are also part of the board at Airbus. And Ludovic, if you can say a word about Mustang, because that's also a big part of the deployment on land, but also over the seas. So the Mustang project is that you bring your technology.
Yeah. This is what I mentioned
In
about
the sky?
the satellite
Yeah.
coverage. So Mustang project is a project aiming to create a dual mode chipset, being able to switch from ISM band on the ground for ground connectivity, sorry, or satellite connectivity using S-band, which is not the same frequency, but we'll have at the same strategy something which is cheap in terms of hardware, because I remember that part of the strategy of SIGFOX is keep the price on the hardware standpoint at the minimum, because we need to have large number, we need to have the technology inseminate everywhere. So today, we have the TI guys of the world, and NXP, Silicon Labs. All these guys today are embedding SIGFOX in their device for free. Because we have patents, but we have a free license model. Meaning that if you want to become the player for the future, you can embed SIGFOX everywhere. Even if you don't have SIGFOX for connectivity, you will be SIGFOX ready. And tomorrow, you will be able to call the sales team and say, I would like to connect a bunch of devices. It will be done immediately, and you will pay for that, obviously. But this is the way that we are addressing that market, doing a dissemination of the technology everywhere for free. And these guys today are doing that very well. And also for the satellite connectivity is the same, because we are, in the Mustang project, we'll provide something which is a design, because we don't want to be a hardware manufacturer. We don't want to be a silicon provider. We want just to enable that business. So it's why we are working hard with a laboratory, with a silicon company, to be able to address that market in a quicker way, but being still keeping the same strategy, getting the price of the device at the minimum. So this is for and create a strong competition, because today TI and XP, all these guys today compete together. So they are decreasing the price day after day, and I do believe that maybe 2 or 3 years from now, maybe we'll get. I will see some people in the room say, it claimed new price very low, but I believe my gut feeling is we will have maybe in 3 years from now, device hardware transceiver for 20 or 30 cents maximum, because it is the same ramp up for the GSM. We start with $30 and we land at $10. It's the same approach. So for us, we will land at 10, 20 cents maximum.
Sure.
And could we say also that we are not, in competition with our clients? So it means that all the applications have been developed, have to be developed by our customers, and so we don't develop ourselves,
So
the applications themselves.
You will never produce connected hardware, but could you be a platform someday? You could be. Do you want to be?
We will improve the network day after day, because we have a roadmap of new feature. But the positioning of SIGFOX is always to be a network for everybody, agnostic in terms of vertical instead of business, of use cases. Maybe we will have some feature that will simplify the way that people can develop their application on top of the network, but we don't want to enter in verticals competing against our partner, our customers, like maybe some big MNOs have done in the past. I think it should be a big mistake for us. So we'll stay horizontal, we stay an enabler of IoT, but obviously we will have new features into the network that will bring new opportunity for our customers, but we will not compete with them, because it should be a way to reduce the potential. And you know that it's so huge. Each vertical is something specific. Some people, some companies have spent tens of years creating their space, tweaking every details to have a very good solution in their business. If you want to address that market, at the beginning you will imagine that it is easy, but it's never easy. So we have to keep in our positioning and don't move, but be having a strategy to increase the potential of that market.
All right.
And it's a day-to-day fight.
It's a day-to-day
It's
fight.
a day-to-day fight, look.
Would you like to say what happened? Because you just told me before we went on stage, but now it's weird for everyone.
I am kidding.
So what about 5G? I mean, I know that you involved in the talks about the 5G. If that could be a threat or maybe an opportunity to offer more services and more opportunities to your client.
5G for me is the next standard for wireless connectivity, for what it is called previously SIM card connectivity, but I think SIM card maybe will have also low and high-end throughput bundle in the same protocol, which is called the 5G. Maybe some improvement on the 4G. We are working with the MNOs in that standardization process. It's tough. I mean, it will take maybe 6-7 years to happen. So we have to do the business right now. So it's the reason why we are working closely with the MNOs, with the GSMA of the world, different GRAN. There is multiple group trying to standardize the communication. So we work with all of them. We have a team in SIGFOX working hard on that way, but we don't want to wait for that standardization because it's a bit too late. Today, the momentum is right now. I think there is a bunch of projects with big numbers today growing very fast, so we don't want to wait for the standardization, but maybe we will adapt day after day the protocol to be aligned with the standardization the day they will appear, but we don't want to wait for that.
I could add, for instance, that the European Commission, which is going to play an increasing role in this domain, the commissioner in charge, Günther Oettinger, launched the Alliance for IoT recently with 3 companies, Philips, Bosch, and SIGFOX.
And SIGFOX. So
which is also an important recognition for us.
Sure.
Maybe less for Bosch and Philips, but for us, that was a very good signal.
Obviously. So 5G, basically what you say is 5G will be a good complementary when it happens.
No, it will not complementary. I think it will be the way to gather on the same base station on the low end, on the high end connectivity. Yeah. For SIGFOX, it's not a real threat. It's more an opportunity because today we are selling hardware to our partner, SNO partner. SNO means SIGFOX Network Operator, the partner who roll out the network in different countries. So for the moment, we are selling to them hardware to connect, to deploy the network. But in the future, if we become a 5G, we will have the technology bundle inside the 5G base station. So we'll be embedded. It will be like seamless. So for us, it's not a big move in our strategy because what we would like to have is as fast as possible the worldwide coverage on the ground, the satellite. So having this kind of approach for us is an opportunity. So the reason why we are working hard on that. But for me, it's not a threat. It's just a way to adapt the strategy, but not a real more an opportunity for us.
How many years until the
6-7 years, I think, minimum.
6-7 years
before having the standardization. After that, we have to wait for the rollout of this 5G base station. If you look at the LTE, we talk about LTE for years. But right now, I think that we don't have LTE network everywhere. So it will take also time. So we don't want to wait. But maybe we'll move. Because when I heard about the 5G, I also heard about the way that maybe tomorrow the IoT will be on licensed spectrum. Maybe yes, maybe not. But for me, it's if it happens, we will be able to move from unlicensed to licensed in one click. Because we are completely agnostic in terms of spectrum. What we are doing, we are improving the way that the spectrum is used by SIGFOX to tackle billions of devices, to be very optimizing the spectrum. But if we have to work on a licensed spectrum, we'll do it. If we are charged for that, maybe a licensed spectrum will not be free. So we'll have to pay for that. We'll see if we will apply an extra cost for our customers or not, depending on the numbers. But for the moment, it's not we'll see. Maybe we'll have low and high quality. Maybe I'm not sure it's a right approach because I think licensed spectrum, it's a way to be sure that you don't have any other device on the spectrum. So it's it's less noisy spectrum. But for the moment, what we have done on ISM, which is a spectrum used by everybody, we see because at SIGFOX we have big ears listening to the spectrum every time. So we see sometimes signal on the spectrum which is completely out of the regulation constraints. But we are dealing with it. We are working perfectly with that. But we know that maybe day after day, there is many people addressing that ISM with bad devices. I would say it's maybe a problem to face, but we'll see.
Wouldn't it be easier to just operate on a licensed bandwidth and pay for it? As you say, you can raise money.
Yes, it's more a question of ecosystem. Because I think if we have a big ecosystem, maybe we'll have to pay for the spectrum. We don't want to pay right now because I think we have to boot that business. But for tomorrow,
the later you pay,
yes, we'll see.
All right. I've got a last question, which might seem provocative, but I want you to be honest on this one because we've seen that a lot of operators investing in SIGFOX. And in its home country, it seems to be really different. And it seems that operators see SIGFOX more as an opponent than a partner. And I have actually no answer to this situation. And I'd like to have your honest point of view on this one because why abroad operators like Entity Docomo or any other Telefonica or others just feel that it's good to invest it's good to invest in SIGFOX, and why Bouygues, let's say it's Bouygues, decided not to work with you. They just quoted you in the press release saying we will not work with SIGFOX. Why that? What did you do to?
Can I start answering the question, Anne? I will follow.
Maybe yes. I'm not sure that it is so simple. Maybe it was the first answer at a period of time. Sometimes it's easier to be convincing about new things outside of France than in France. But I'm not sure that it is the last phase.
That's the last
about
word.
that.
That's what you say.
Take a little of your time, and maybe you are going
confident?
to have other answers.
All right. Do you want to?
I have another way to answer that question. For me, the guy like Bouygues, I think it's something. I had attended a panel maybe two days ago, and the subject was how the big company in France can work with startup to help them to become big companies and to grow their business. And we had the answer that for me, we have a big problem in France. It's more a psychological problem than a real technical problem. That it's very difficult when you are a French startup, a French company, to work with a big industrial like MNOs, because I don't know why exactly. I have an idea, but I don't know why really. But it's very difficult. So maybe, as Anne said, maybe it will move. There's a phase that they come back to us because they will fail in their approach, and I'm totally sure that Bouygues will fail. I think it's sure. I can bet it today, and I can because I think it's impossible for a small company like Bouygues to become a big player because they don't know how to move. They are so constrained in their legacy. That moving fast in that disruptive market will not be possible for them. They are starting to roll out a network in Issy-les-Moulineaux in June. Good, but Issy-les-Moulineaux is not a very big market. I think if you want to address the market of IoT from Issy-les-Moulineaux, you have time to become a big player. And I think at the same time we have signed 10 other countries. So it's not for me a real competitor. It's I think if I was the CEO of Bouygues, I will come to SIGFOX and say, wait, we have to work together because the value is not in the network itself, really. It's on the way that you can bring more application, more services on top of such network, not competing against that. It is not I am CEO of SIGFOX, so I was pitching my company in that way, but at the end of the day, I believe that it should be more helpful for them to do that trying to compete with an approach coming from a technology like Semtech, which is not the right technology to become a global operator for many reasons. I don't want to enter in many detail right now in that way, but we can demonstrate why they will fail. And so the reason why I'm very sure that they will fail.
But we love competition. It's good to have competitors. And I love when, Ludovic is so aggressive because normally I am seen as a pushy person, but compared to him, I am a very nice person.
See, you're good at politics. See? So just to end on a good word, I don't know if there's anyone in the room from the TIC Valley, but I'd like just to talk about the rebranding of the TIC Valley, because you were at the initiative of the creation of the TIC Valley, and it's now being rebranded at the IoT Valley. Can you just say?
Yeah, definitely, thanks to ask this question. We are launching a big initiative in Toulouse called IoT Valley, because formerly it was TIC Valley, but I think the way that we are positioning the IoT Valley is the way that today we will announce some big industrial that will come in Toulouse to develop together new solutions for their market. I can't talk about bear market because you will see who is behind that. But we try to create a strong visibility on IoT, gathering industrial, laboratory, and startup in the same place to work together and to develop application and services. So we have a building right now, but we have a project to create multiple buildings in an area close to Lauvergeon. And this is the global vision. I think we want to inspire our approach with what has been done in the US, trying to copy but adapt the approach with our French French touch and French tech too. And this is and at the same time we have this space. We welcome industrial and startup. We have also an incubator called Connected Camp, which is also a place where startup entrepreneurs will come, and we have the support of people helping them to develop the hardware. We'll have a laboratory with many stuff to tune the development, because in IoT something different than software, pure software. To develop a solution for a mobile or for the web, you need a laptop, and it's pretty simple to do. But for the IoT, it's something else. You have to develop hardware, you have to tweak the device, and so on. So we need more hardware to do that. And at the Creative Camp, we have a place where startup will be able to develop and to tune their objects. And in the same way, we also have some investors that will come with us to invest in a potential very interesting startup. So this is the new IoT Valley. It is the first. The launch will be in September, if I'm right. I don't know. I'm looking for Marion, the team of that was there. September is right. Okay. So we launch a first call in September. We have already a lot of partners, industrial partners, that will be on that launch. So we will invite you. I think we will keep in touch with the IoT Valley launch. And what else? Does I forgot something? I look at the team, IoT team. It's fine. Cool. So I have. So stay in touch for the launch of IoT Valley in Lauvergeon.
So in September, how many companies are in the?
We plan to welcome 8. 9, 10. No, I think, if I'm not wrong, I think we plan to welcome 10 maximum 10 startups at the beginning, just to boot, and so this is the objective we have.
So this will be a new hub for the IoT, and
yes.
That doesn't exist.
I would like to add something else, because I think I don't want to be. I don't want to work alone in Toulouse and being the Gaulois of the IoT in Toulouse. I think we have also some initiative in Angers. Yeah. So I think we don't want to compete. We have to work together. We have to create connection between some initiative in different parts of France, because competing will be not relevant. So we are working on a way to have some differentiation. I think that in Angers, it should be more the industrial, the manufacturing. Maybe in Toulouse, it will be around the application, the services that will be developed on top of that, of the device. So device is something, the application, the service. So we'll focus on that. So we should try to work together. It's crazy, because I think I heard about that there will be a line between Toulouse and Angers. I don't know the company name, but there is a new company that will launch a flight, 2 or 4 flights per day from Toulouse and Angers. So it's crazy, but
you will be their main clients, right?
Yeah. So it's amazing.
Maybe we're gonna give the mic to the crowd. Yeah, there's one here.
So hello, I'm Quentin. I'm working on anythings.co, a website which aims to reference any smart devices. You seem to be on a great growth trend. So what would be the main threat for your growth in the future? What are the main challenge for the years incoming for SIGFOX?
Up to you, vas-y.
I think the strategy we have a strategy to go very fast, because we have maybe 50 or more patents already, just to protect the invention and the way that we are able to achieve that value proposition. But the main barrier for the competition is the way that we are going very fast. So the protection for the barrier for SIGFOX is the ecosystem, definitely. Like for the mobile, you have iOS and Android. Hold the application, create the ecosystem, and it's a barrier for the newcomers. So for the IoT, the same. Having a lot of silicon company working with SIGFOX today, big guys, big manufacturers working with us, is the way that we can protect SIGFOX against potential newcomers. In that space of IoT, something which is very important to understand that if someone comes in the space, they will have to roll out the network. So we will see them. We can't go under the radar like on the web, because on the web you can create a new application and launch it, and you haven't seen it coming. But on the IoT, it's something else. We need a network. So for the moment, we don't have any competitors, really, because the LoRa guys have done some tests in some part of France or wherever, but it's just a small, not a network. So for me, this is the goal is going very fast and making growth the ecosystem as fast as possible. And I hope we'll have enough time to be the winner.
I think at the end of the day, the last 20 years we have connected the people all together. Now we are going to connect the things. It's clear. I think that we have no doubt about the fact that a lot of things are going to be connected, and that we are offering a system which is very disruptive, very low cost, and so on and so on. We are going to have competitors, that's the life. I think it's not a threat, but it's the unknown part of the story for us is the pace of deployment of those things worldwide. Of course, in some countries, that's clear that they are much more, I may say, attracted spontaneously by IoTs like US, like Western Europe, like Japan, like
Brazil.
South Korea, like
Brazil.
yes, Brazil. So that's clear. The rest of the world
Will follow.
is much more, a question mark. So nobody knows at which pace we are going to deploy not our networks, but the IoTs in the world. So it's really fascinating. If you look the speed of not only the deployment, but the addiction of the mobile phones, smartphones, tablets, and so on, it was much more speedy than expected. So IoTs, of course, question mark.
Sure. Maybe another question? Oh, I've got, yeah.
Good afternoon. Ludovic, just to reinforce your message about IoT Valley versus Cité de l'Objet Connecté, yes, it's very complementary, as we mentioned last time. Together, we will bridge our initiative. And the COC, it's typically focusing on overall IoT. So we are below or above all the technologies, and you are very welcome also in Angers. And there are some initiatives in Angers on SIGFOX, but also on LoRa and other technologies. And yes, we will reinforce, and in our side is to develop, accelerate startups in this field, IoT and M2M, and to develop also the French ecosystem and the French tech. And the idea is also to demonstrate that we are capable to develop industrial also in France versus Asia, and we are going in the same direction.
For Angers, you have a secret agent within SIGFOX. It's me. I have I have a home close to Angers, so
yeah,
every time I say Angers, Angers, Angers. So
I'm working with, closely with Sylvie also. Yeah, I know very well.
Thank you. There's maybe one on the side.
Yeah.
Hi, Ariel Gomez from Journal des Télécoms. I would like to come back on what you said about Bouygues Telecom. For you, is going to fail on IoT or going to fail globally?
No, for me, on the IoT, for me, the vision they have trying to address this IoT space, not for the MNOs, for me, for the IoT, trying to develop their own network in France with a technology that's not compatible with the challenge for the IoT, for me, is not the right approach. I don't mean that it is a fail for the traditional business, but for the IoT. A good example, if you rely on one supplier and you target high number, it's impossible. If you talk with industrial guys, they need multiple suppliers. When you have to manufacture millions of devices, you can't rely on one supplier. You need to have multiple suppliers. On the LoRa technology is proprietary to Semtech, so it never happened for me. You can create small business, but not a big business.
So LoRa has no future for you in France.
For me, LoRa, if I was the CEO of LoRa, I will change my strategy to become a partner, because they have a technology which is pretty well for what I call LAN, local area network, not a wide area network. So I think it should be a big complement for us having this technology bundled with SIGFOX for some interesting use cases, but not trying to compete in the mainstream, because for me it will never happen, I'm sure. But not because I think the fundamental of the IoT is completely different. That has been done on the MNO, on the multimedia, all that stuff. So for me, it should be better for everybody to work in the same way, because once again, the network is one thing; it's a enabler, but the big value is on top of that. So I think trying to fight in that way, for me, it's not relevant. It will be better to work on how to leverage a network, such network like SIGFOX, and create application, analytics, whatever on top of that, trying to redo another network. It will take time, and I think for me it's a pity, but I think they can try. Yeah? We'll see.
Sounds like a proposal.
But for instance, you could see the explanation given by TI, which is a very important large supplier for components and devices, explaining what they think about that.
Which is?
Look at it.
I don't even remember. All right, I think we're out of time, so thank you very much for attending. Thank you.
Thank you.